Express yourself. Hello, and welcome to the Feminine Expressions Talks, where we invite the wisdom of women and rediscover the feminine ways. My name is Antje, I'm your host, and today I'm here with Mily. And I met Mily in the most beautiful forest in Romania dancing, so we share a common passion. And today we want to hear Mily's story. Hello, Mily.
Hi. Hi, Antje. Hi.
Hi. So first of all, would you please introduce yourself just with a few words?
Yes, so I'm Mily. I'm 37. I'm from Romania, Bucharest. And my story that I want to share with you and what I want to put out there is that I wanted to change my life almost 8 years ago. So I decided to make all the necessary changes to pursue what I call well-being in general. So I had this shift in 2012. My life wasn't going very, very well, so I quit my job like a lot of people did. And I started to change all the things that I thought that needed to change to have a different life. Because I understood where are the aspects at which life in general didn't make sense or we had issues. So I understood that moving from Bucharest, from a big city for a while, it was necessary for me to change, first of all, to change the air that I'm breathing. So we moved near the forest, and that was the biggest change in my life. Then my partner, my ex-partner, taught me about the importance of eating well and having an input in this. I understood that it's very, very important to learn how to grow food. Maybe not just be 100% all of your time to put it in a garden, but understood that it's very important to have this aspect also fulfilled, to ground yourself, to grow food. That was another aspect that I wanted to do. And then started to heal myself because as a person and as a woman, I understood that I had so many issues that society didn't prepare me. Nobody told me, TV and media, and nobody pointed out to the fact that we are so wounded and so misaligned with our lives. So meeting with the people like you and other amazing people outside the concrete buildings of the big cities and going back to our human roots, like in the nature, in the forest, having a shared experience near the fire, that is our ancestral inheritance. It is like something happens something happened when I did that. I understood that my life needed to shift. So I started this journey in 2012, and it's gonna continue ever gonna continue forever, but I managed to change some things in my life, and now I consider that I have shifted. So regarding my issues as a woman, the the thing that helped me to to make a transformation was my practice. Dance especially was the thing that helped me the most to to transform from a person that was not embodied, and I did not understood this term until I had a fixed and a practice that is solid and consistent. And I started to 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 structure myself a feminine practice that included dance. I always danced, but it was an expression that we all have, like all the children are dancing, and dancing is really like a gift that we were given since forever. But outside of this, it's something more than this happened. I understood that to work with my feminine potential, I really had to work with my body and to work with my feminine nature. So my intuition guided me to a workshop that was called belly dance workshop. It was something that I didn't consider until that point. So I had no idea what we're gonna do there, but I totally fell in love with it. And I understood from the first time that I am not in my body. We started to isolate our body parts at this workshop, and I was shocked to realize that I cannot isolate my body parts. So, okay, I have a certain physical condition. I stay outside, I'm breathing, I'm doing a lot of things, but I saw that I am really not in contact with some parts of my body. And it really appealed to me. And it looked very nice. And I started to practice this from time to time. I call it now feminine conscious movements, because I think that feminine dance, like belly dance and oriental dance, are are fundamental practices that we as women need. And these women, the Arabian women and a lot of women from old cultures, they knew this. And they had this understanding and this knowledge, and we have no knowledge of that. And now we are trying to bring it into our Western and modern understanding and life. So I started to, as my practice developed, I wanted to share my knowledge, because I was only doing it for myself. And at some point I moved with my partner, and we stayed at in the northern part of Norway, at the Arctic Circle. And I was wondering, who am I going to share my dancing nights with, because I had a community in the city, and I had a community in Romania where we moved, and all of a sudden I thought, okay, but there are women here also in Norway, in this island where I moved. So um, I want to gather with people, and I like to be with people, and especially with women. I think it's very important that we gather and we have shared experience where we can really grow. So there was nobody doing this there in the northern parts of Europe, and there was no authority in this matter up there. So I thought that this is a sign for me to do it, to start. And I had a lot of fear, of course. Who am I to start doing something, to teach, to talk to people, to share my experience? Is it valuable? But it doesn't stay too much with me, this fear, because something told me inside of myself that we have this knowledge. We all do. It's just that we are so used to isolate ourselves, and the modern society made us isolate ourselves. But just by being together, the inspiration just sparkles and is there. And so I started to hold the women's circles about dance and conscious movement. I had this amazing experience that my intuition told me to just go for it, and to lose all the fears. I didn't have a location, I didn't have anything. So I just wrote my project and then sent it to some women that I knew from the island, from that place. But I had this very clear and pure intention in my heart that I really want to do something nice and something beneficial for them. So I knew that somehow the universe will help me do this. And it was exactly like I planned it. I just received a feedback instantly from the director, and it was the wife of the mayor of the island that responded immediately and told me, okay, I like you, and I'm gonna give you the sports hall from the school. It was one school on the island. So I got the sports hall to hold this women workshop, and there it was 2 or 3 women in the beginning. It was interesting to have this gigantic sports hall, and we were 4 women, but I could sense that we had this great joy just of being together and dancing, and I was putting all sorts of music and musical genders, and we just wanted to enjoy ourselves. So after 3 months, I felt like I needed a more feminine place. So immediately another place appeared, and it was a smaller place in the kindergarten where it was a very pure energy there, and it was a very clean space. So I did it there, and I did it there for 1 year and a half, 1 year and a half, something like this, which raised the confidence in me that we are supposed to do this. Uh, Once we understand things and we change, we need to help other people to share what we have learned with no fear, with no limitation. And after I stayed there 2 years and a half, I continued my practice. I worked on myself. I got very disciplined in my practice, in my breathing, in my working with myself and my thoughts and my emotional body and my physical body, and cleaning myself, taking good care of what I eat. My partner also had this great idea that we really need to do a garden at the Arctic Circle, and I'm still amazed by his work, and he really did it there. He was growing vegetables at the Arctic Circle where there's nothing growing there. And but now I returned to Romania 1 year ago. I stayed there 2 years and a half, and I want to continue what I'm doing here in the country where I'm born, in Bucharest, where I'm born. And I want to continue this, first of all, because I think dance is the most complex expression that we can have in this life, in this physicality. Think that when we paint, we just channel an inspiration, and then it goes to the hand, and we express it, and it's very beautiful. But with dancing, it's really using our whole being as an expression. So it's like we are using the totality of our being, and then we also make room for something even bigger than our mundane consciousness to step in. And I really want to share this message with as many women as I can, that it is time for us to do it, to make it big, to make all the changes that we can in ourselves to grow, and connecting to other women through practice, through rituals, through sacred practice, through dance, through movement. And a lot of things like this are really necessary in this age where we are just losing it. The speed that life has reached is insane. And once you start to do this practice, for example, the tribal fusion belly dance practice or the belly dance practice, you start to have your own frequency. You drop down from your mind into your body, and you don't just get caught up in the trembling of the outside world. You take it slower, and you start to impose your rhythm. And it's amazing what this practice could do. So
beautiful.
yeah, it is beautiful. It is beautiful, and you don't realize it until you do it. It's just it can seem a little bit strange, or I cannot do this kind of things, but it's we can do it, all of us.
Mhm.
It's very nice.
So it's funny because to me, somehow equal things happened. Like 2 years ago, I was here in California and we moved to a new place, and I started to go to this yoga studio, and then one day I really just had this random thought, I should try and teach dance class. And in my mind, I was teaching one workshop. So I went to the owner of the studio and told her, like, I've been dancing all my life, and I'm a teacher, so I kind of want to try to teach a dance class. And she was like, oh yeah, we can make it a weekly class. And I was like, oh no. But then I decided, okay, I'm going to just give it a try. And it was for men and women, so it was for everybody. And mostly I had very small classes too. But for a little while, I did this dance class, and in the beginning, I did a lot of movements where I told people how to move. We did like this exercise, and then from there, we went more and more and more into just finding your own movement. That was like my idea, for people to find their own movement, because I realized, I've been dancing since I was 5. I took ballet classes when I was 5.
Mm-hmm.
And so dance is like always been in my life, and I always had a very strong connection to my body, really.
Mm-hmm.
And I only realized that when I just started to look at other people, and I realized they don't have a body consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I thought, okay, I can, like, literally I can help with that, because
Mm-hmm.
I have it, so I can, maybe transfer something of that. That was like my idea. Like, maybe I can like help you gain that. And
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like once you realize what it feels like to be completely in your body, it is that you can come back to that place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I did that for a little while, but it was really, really difficult for me. And was like, sometimes, I know, I felt like I had to be more prepared than I was. And I think I didn't trust myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so after a while, it kind of like went, and then it stopped. Um, so my question for you is, like, how did you keep the energy up? How did you keep going? How did you, what did you do on a day where you really didn't feel like it? Where you were really like,
I
nah,
remember.
I don't want to be in front of the people, and I'm the one that everybody's looking at, and they want me to tell them what to do. How did you get away from that? Yeah, that's really what I would personally love to know, because yeah, like for me, that was so difficult for a while. I learned a lot, and I definitely just saw it as a learning experience. So I'm happy I did it. And now the yoga studio is being sold, so whatever. I'm going to find a different place somewhere, or a different thing to do.
For sure, for sure. Yes, you're gonna return to that. If you started it, I'm pretty sure you're gonna go back.
Mm.
Once this phase is gonna go. So I continued and continued and continued. It wasn't without pause. When I left Norway and came back to Romania, I had a pause, but I'm gonna talk about that a little bit later. So what kept me going there, uh, it was the fact that I needed it for myself. I think that first and foremost, we need to do things that we need for ourselves. And doing that with other people, it's gonna bring you a more sustained and a certain discipline, knowing that, okay, now today I can learn from myself, I can do this practice for myself. But if I'm gonna do that with other 3 people, then I'm gonna be more disciplined for sure. And I was so disciplined that I really limited myself. I was, the first month I was all in my head, just trying to make the perfect workshop, the perfect dance workshop. And I was learning and learning, and I started to write. I wrote a full notebook about the dance therapy and the body and the anatomy and a lot of things. And it limited me because I knew a lot of things that I shut them down because I thought I just needed to learn more.
Mhm.
But what happened was that when I got there, almost every time, I would have forgot everything I learned.
That's awesome.
And it was something else that stepped into me because something else needed to happen that day. It wasn't what I logically, rationally considered to be necessary, but I was just there to let something else come into the space. And I had moments and days where I couldn't physically hold the workshop. And I think it was only one time that I really postponed the workshop because I really felt very bad. But other times I felt bad, tried to stop the workshop, but it was impossible. And something happened and I recovered. And at the last minute, I was there. And when I saw people enjoying themselves, women enjoying themselves, I understood that it's not about that. It's I have some knowledge that is extra. I have some extra knowledge. I know music that they don't know. I know some things because I had time to research them and to study them, and that was all I need. So yes, I wanted to quit many times, but
Okay.
the universe made it so I didn't. Something happened every time. It
That's wonderful.
Yes, there was something else that I remember now. I forgot, but it's okay. Maybe this is the main aspect. Of course, all of us, we have these moments that we think, what do we know that can be shared? Oh yes, there is a lot. The fact that we met at this festival, if you remember, and the simple joy that we found in this kind of meetings, it is one thing that people are missing from their life. Stepping outside their mundane, going in nature, making a fire, and rhythm itself. Once you start to play any instrument, and especially a percussion instrument, there is this knowing that we resonate to the rhythm because we are used to resonating to the heart pumping, to the pumping of the heart of our mothers in their womb. So we are just here to create that context, and that's all that is. We are not really teaching anybody anything. We just make it happen. We just settle a date, and we we present ourselves there, and we clean our heads and we breathe, and we just play the music or just holding space, and that's really what all we are doing.
Yeah,
And then
that's
we let something else step in. So yeah, I'm
yeah.
a perfectionist, but that didn't help me in this.
Didn't help, right?
Didn't help. It just
That's good.
limit, it just limited all the other things that universe is putting there.
Yeah, I really love that you said to do things that you need for yourself, because this is how I started the women's circles here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing that I actually stuck with.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I do movement there too. And there it was really like whenever I wanted to quit, there was the one woman that came and was like, please
Exactly.
keep going. And
Exactly.
for that reason, I'm still doing it. And it's so nurturing. And it's really like in the beginning too, I had my full plan, you know, I had written down everything that we do and things that I say and stuff. And then I remember doing my first guided meditation. I was so like, I had no idea what I was doing, but I just started. I was like, you know, I've listened to so many guided meditations and I know it's somewhere inside me. I didn't consciously know, but somehow I knew it's somewhere inside me. And literally, I was sitting there and I was guiding the women that were there, and I myself went into a trance. I like my voice was so soothing. I was like in the meditation, and I just told them what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
So I completely abandoned my plan. We just went on a different path. And since then, that really gave me so much confidence in what I can do
Mm-hmm.
and what I'm here to share. That, you know, I really found like, okay, that's, you know, I'm good at that. I knew it. And I can share that. And with the dance, it's something like that too. I did a few dance workshops just for women too. And that was really where, yeah, I also felt like I didn't really, you know, I didn't tell them how exactly to move. I just put on music and I did the elements. We danced the earth and then the water and then the air and then the fire, and I had different musics for all. And then in the end, we went into the heart.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And after those, you know, it was really like the earth, you were all connected to the earth and everything was like going down and like really, you know, feel your feet and really feel your body. And then the water start to flow and the air like, lift up, and the fire like, whoa, go crazy. And then after that, when we went into the heart, it was so beautiful to see the woman, because I felt like they were in love with themselves. And that was my intention, to take them to a place where they're completely accepting and loving themselves. And that's like really where I felt, okay, I want to keep doing that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The interesting thing was that it was really different to have the mixed group of women and men and have the just women group. And with the just women group, I went so much deeper. Like seriously, you know, it was so easy to just guide them so much further.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I really personally enjoy a lot to work with just women groups. That's why also my monthly group is only women. But I think, I mean, that's just the phase, I guess.
It's just a fact.
And yeah, for me, it's just a phase for
For
sure,
me
because
too.
I know that the men are coming. I know that right now we need to gather as women, we need to build our power in order to be able to pass it on to the men next step. You know, once I am in my complete full power, then I'm going to be able to give it to the men as well, I feel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's, yeah, part of my story. So yeah, I wanted to ask if somebody is interested in your workshops now and would like to know more about you, where can they find you? How can they find your project?
They can find me on Facebook, and I'm gonna leave you the links. And I also have a page on Facebook that is called Feminine Conscious Movement, in which I share not only my events or my interests, but other women that I collaborate with, because I'm I have also this feeling that it's not only about what we are doing, but also to learn to collaborate with other people. And I started to have this collaboration in December with a lovely woman that I that is very complementary to my approach and my being. And this put this let me grew me to another level. uh, it was amazing what happened once we met, um, because you have an idea, and then in two people, uh, something exponentially better, it's gonna grow from there. So
Yes, I
yeah,
love that. That is very
beautiful.
true. Yeah,
Yes.
I feel that too. Once I put out my ideas and I am open to not hold on to them, I'm open to have someone else be like, oh, I like this part. And how about adding something like, they're like pouring. It's like when you pour two different liquids together, a little bit more of this, a little bit more of this, or spices. For me, it's like putting spices together. And
Yeah.
it's like the one spice is nice, but if you add enough of the other spice and maybe a little bit more of this, then you got like the
Yes.
magic happening,
Yes.
really. That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's
Well,
a
I wish you a very successful and very beautiful and a lot of learning and teaching experiences. And thank you so much for talking to me. I really appreciate it, and very happy to hear your story. And I hope all the women, they want to dance now.
I hope so
And
too. I hope so.
move that body, right? Like come into the body, come back into the body. That is really, yeah, for me too. Come out of the mind, back into the body. That's where we need to go right now, for me too.
Yes. And
So
from me, it's like come into the body, and from there, uh, to restructure myself. I
mm,
started to see myself at my higher potential when I understood, when I saw, literally saw myself holding my hands in a certain way. And I had this image with myself, and this image stayed with me. So I didn't knew that I could be more than I am until I saw it on a mirror. It's amazing what these things could do for us. So you
yeah,
just open your arms and find the position, and that stays with you, and you remember that you are more than you think you are. And yeah, it's a very lovely play.
well,
It's a lovely way to see our life and our experience here. And I want to thank you for this conversation. uh,
thank
I really, really loved it. I enjoyed it a lot. And I was very happy to share a small part of it with you. Thank you, Antje. You are
you,
lovely. Thank you.
Mily. Okay, so thank you everyone for watching, and I hope to see you again next month. Visit the website, subscribe to the newsletter, and all this other stuff. And goodbye. Thank you.
Goodbye. Thank you. Thank you, Antje.